To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So I'm sitting on my porch, on my tiny house, underneath my clumsy plastic roof. That was literally the very first comment I received after I put that up. That's just clumsy. It ain't gonna do anything. You know, nobody can be happy that anybody's accomplished anything. And I was thinking about this. I do not think I have the ability to actually insult something that people are proud of. Went out and bought a new car. Even if I don't like the car, if you're proud of it, there is no way I would say, oh, that's terrible. Why would you do that? Unless specifically asked for advice. I'm glad you like it. Same thing here. Why would anybody insult that? Even if you don't like it, obviously you can see it in my face. I love it. And it's multi-purpose. You can see that it's well shaded here. And that's because of our property. Now, if it was blaring sun all day long, obviously this wouldn't work for us. But this does work for us. And it serves another purpose that is actually more important to us. One, to keep the rain off of us so Carolyn can cook on here. She wants to make this her outdoor kitchen. And a greenhouse. So in early spring, when the leaves haven't actually bloomed yet, she can put her plants out here like this. I mean, this is what she did right there. Oh, perfect, right there. She still got her lettuce. And so this serves as a perfect greenhouse effect for her plants in early springtime. This brings me to a conversation I wanted to talk about, which is living off-grid. You have to get away from conventional thinking. If you're thinking conventional, you can't do it. It brings us to prepping. A lot of people talk about prepping. I mean, prepping is really a big deal right now. Everybody's watching the prepping channels. If you're thinking conventional, you're not going to be able to do it. Oh, I got to have, my 3 square meals a day, and I got to be able to eat my potatoes and my meats. You're just going to have to think unconventionally. Here's what I got, and here's what I got to do. So, for example, I made my own 4x4s. Lumber prices are just outrageous, and there's no way I can afford them. When I built the tiny house, 2x4s were going for about $6. Now, a year prior to that, they were going for about $2. Well, I went ahead and was able to build a tiny house for $6, but now they're up to $10. Conventional thinking, oh, no, you need pressure-treated wood, Rob. You got to have pressure-treated. Well, if I'm up to pressure-treated wood now for a 4x4, we're talking $20. That's $100 nearly, just for the 4 posts. It's $80 plus tax and all that. There's just no way you can afford it. So I had these laying around, 24-foot 2x4s that I was able to use. They're not pressure treated. I get it, and they're going to rot, or they could rot if I don't take action to eliminate that problem. So I'm going to paint them. And this amazes me. People have gotten so spoiled in today's society. They don't even realize back in the day, people painted things. My grandpa was a carpenter. He painted everything. Everything was painted. Wood siding. Yeah, wood siding, and he painted it. So yeah, paint actually preserves things. I remember when I built this box for my water tank here, I painted it. And people said, that isn't going to work. You can't use wood. It's going to rot. Not if you paint it. And it's done fine. It's done great, actually. This is exactly what my grandpa would have done back in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. Yeah, I'm going to paint it. Fill this up more with concrete so it doesn't hold water. I've drilled holes in it so the water drains out. And I'm going to paint this and then fill it up with more concrete, and I'll seal around the concrete so the water doesn't get down into it. Yeah, I mean, it'll rot if you leave it as is. You got to think outside the box. Unconventional thinking. As you know, I just recently bought myself a John Deere tractor, and I spoiled myself. I got to be honest. We talked about buying a used lawnmower, and we decided, no, we're going to go buy a new one. That way, repair cost and different things. I had a used one not that long ago, 5 or 6 years ago. Bought it, and it didn't even last the summer, and the engine blew up on it, so we ended up having to get a new engine. That was another, $400, $500, $600. So I bought myself a John Deere, with the warranty. It's got a warranty. It should last 20 years. But if it lasts 5 years, then it's going to do a lot better than that used one did. One of the first things somebody said, oh, you got to get those groove tractor tires. And they sell these tires where they kind of have a V on it. This is like turf, and then you have those ultimate traction tires that have these V tractor treads on it. I mean, they were right. I mean, I knew they were going to be right. I can't hardly make it up the hill if there's even a little bit of dew on the grass. And I'm not even talking about mowing. I wouldn't mow when it's wet. I want to transport firewood or something. These things just won't go up the hill. So I was looking into these tractor tires, $79 a piece. You know, that's $160 for 2 of them. And I'm thinking, my goodness, you know, that's 10% of what the tractor costs. Why would I want to spend that much money on tires when I have brand new tires right here? They're perfectly fine. They just don't do what I need them to do. So I look for alternatives. Now, conventional thinking, no, you got to have the tractor tires. And I see them all over the place. I see these John Deere lawnmowers on trailers being transported around with those fancy tires on them. And I'm just not going to spend that much money. That's why I'm debt free. That's why Carolyn and I have a nice retirement savings. That's why I don't have to work just day and night, all day long and all night long anymore. Because we've learned how to think unconventionally. So, what can I do? Well, I can get tire chains. Now, I recognize people are going to say, oh, tire chains, that's terrible for the yard. I live off grid on a homestead. I mean, it's not like I'm looking for a pretty yard. I'm looking for things that can make me happy and survivable. I mean, having a manicured yard out here in the boonies just isn't, you know, something everybody's worried about. So I got the tire chains, and they were $50 for the set. So I've just saved myself $110 plus the shipping. I'm sure the shipping is going to be much more expensive on the tires. Well, then I still wanted to weight the back end down, because the more weight you have on the back end, the more you're going to be pushing down into the ground with those tire chains so they're not slipping. Well, they got this little attachment. Now, you can buy wheel weights, and they're like $100 a piece. I mean, I didn't even look at them. I know they're expensive. Well, they got this little attachment. It hooks right here, and it hangs off, and you can put a bucket in it. It's a bucket carrier is what it is. Holds 40 pounds. That's exactly the kind of weight I'm needing. 40 pounds plus the tire chains. And now I'm going to get plenty of traction to come up here. I could probably even do it in the snow. That way I could go down there, transfer firewood, because eventually this is not going to hold all the firewood we need. Eventually I'm going to have to start another firewood pile somewhere, most likely down the hill. So I can go down and get firewood in the snow, in the winter, and the rain, and the whole thing. I'll have plenty of traction. But even if I got those tractor tires, I'd still have to get the chains in the winter so I can make it in the snow. I mean, that's one of the things I talked about was, you know, being able to plow your driveway. You know, you can buy a plow for these too. In the snow, you still have to have the chains. So why not just get the chains and do everything I need with one $50 item instead of 2 tires and the chains? And then I just spent the $39 on the bucket holder, which we're going to use for other things too, not just to weight the back end down, but you know, I can transport water down to the garden. I have to run the generator every time, so when I fill the tank, I just fill a few buckets of water for her, and then I can run those down there. And then she has water that she can just dip around all her plants. I feel like the multi-purpose, unconventional thinking is the way to go. The other thing is you got to get past the idea of having toys. Look, when I saw those tires, I was like, yeah, I got to have those. And I would have been able to easily convince Carolyn, I got to have them. But you got to think, wait a minute, do I really got to have them? And the answer was no. When I actually started thinking about what I needed to do unconventionally, I didn't really need to have them. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of glad that I didn't do it. This way, I have something that I can just put on, leave on, and all year round. I never have to worry about changing the tires or changing the chains, or, you know, I don't have to worry about any of that. Plus, I forgot to mention, I would have to probably take the tire into a mechanic, a tire shop, to have them put the tires onto the rim, because I don't have an air compressor that would spread the tire out enough to hit the bead. So just more money, more waste. And it's not that I can't afford it. Like I said, I could probably talk Carolyn into let me have those tires. It just didn't make sense. Now, the other thing is when I think back, again, to my grandpa, he had a wheel horse lawnmower. Now, I don't remember his wheel horse lawnmower. What I do remember is as I got older, close to 10 years old, my dad bought me a wheel horse, and he and I repaired the head gasket and the rings and everything because it smoked real bad. Wheel horses were the big deal back then. I moved closer to my grandpa, and he loved the wheel horse. And I don't know, big long story. He owned it for a while, I owned it for a while. I don't know, I probably sold it to him. Anyway, while he had it, he bought chains for it. Well, back then they probably didn't have those tires, so he used chains. He also would plow up his garden with the wheel horse and the whole thing. And so what he did was he put liquid, I don't remember what kind of liquid it was, but he put liquid in the tires for the weight and then had the chains for traction. And so I don't feel like I'm doing anything different than the wheel horse lawnmower. This is unconventional thinking, and this is getting back to the basics. This is the way your grandparents were doing things. Even though it's a lot of work, there's something romantic about this lifestyle. And the freedom to do it the way you want to do it. So I hope I can inspire you to start thinking unconventionally so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.